We are starting the Sacral Chakra Yoga sequence in Child's Pose. While the root chakra sequence allows us to go inward and get in touch with ourselves, Sacral Chakra Yoga sequences allow us to get in touch with our emotions. The first chakra is associated with earth and it brings solidity, stability, focus, and form, while the second chakra is associated with element water and it brings us difference, change, movement. As this chakra is about emotions, and emotions can be expressed through movement, such as dance, we can channel how we feel by the way we move. During this practice, let's focus on the fluidity of our movement as we move from one pose to another. As you lie in child's pose, take some nice slow breath. Whatever feels natural today, don't force it. Just pay attention to whether it's shallow or deep. Find the stability by paying attention to the contact of your body with the floor that we worked on in root chakra sequence. And keep breathing. And as you breathe out, let's move into a tabletop by placing your hands under your shoulders and your hips over your knees. And finding neutral spine by curling it up and down, such as in cat cow movement. And moving back into child's pose for a bit more of a break. Coming back into table stop, finding the neutral spine. Bending left leg back with toes pointing forward and right arm forward. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, bring the left knee and right elbow together, curling into a cat position of a spine. Then extending the left leg back and right arm forward and repeating the movement 3-4 times on each side, moving with breath. And from the last repetition of this exercise, stepping left foot forward into a forward lunge and bring arms up or to your heart and staying here for a couple of breaths. Next, moving into a lizard pose by bending the left knee, stretching the front of the right hip, and either placing your palms on the inside of your left foot, or you can come down onto elbows for a deeper stretch pose in lizard pose. Feel free to stay in a lizard pose, or you can move through a bit of a flow, coming back up into a low lunge and coming back down into a lizard lunge, moving with your breath. Breathe in as you move up and breathe out as you move down. Meeting in child's pose. As you breathe out, moving back into a table stop position. Taking a couple of breaths there. Straightening out right leg, pointing right toes forwards, extending the left arm, and then breathing in. And as you breathe out, bringing left elbow and right knee together, curling spine up, and repeating this movement a few times. And as we complete the small flow, stepping with right leg forward into a low lunge, staying here or moving into a lizard by placing your hands on the left side of your right foot or coming down onto your elbows and staying here for a few breaths. Continuing to stay in a low lunge or lizard or moving through a bit of a flow, coming back up into a low lunge and coming back down into a lizard pose, breathing in as you move up and breathing out as you move down. Meeting in child's pose. As you breathe out from child's pose, moving into table stop, bringing your hips up and moving into a downward dog where you can pedal your feet out. You can move your head up and down, side to side, and take some deep breath in this pose. As you breathe out, lift your heels, bend your knees, and step forward towards your hands into a forward fold. Moving your torso side to side, hugging the elbows, moving side to side, shaking your head up and down, or just finding stillness in that pose. Halfway left, to come into half left, we basically form about 90-degree angle with between our hips and our torso, and can place arms on shins, on front of our shins. Breathing out, moving to a forward fold, and then coming up all the way up, hands to heart. And as you breathe out, coming back down, hands down, and stepping back into a high plank. Lowering our knees and basically getting into a over the knee push-up position. Keeping our thighs, torso, and head in straight line, lowering down halfway and opening chest forward, bringing head up, and keeping hands on the ground or lifting them up into a baby cobra. From baby cobra, moving through a table stop into a downward dog. Lifting heels, lowering knees, stepping forward towards your hands. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in all the way up and breathe out into a forward fold and step back into a plank. You may continue with the variation of sun salutation we just did, which is the one off the knees. When you lower down and then come up into a baby cobra and come back to downward dog. Or you can perform Chaturanga Dandasana, in which from high plank you lower by keeping your body in a straight line with your head. You lower your body to about 4 inches off the ground, and then by keeping the contact with the ground with the tops of your feet, you lower your hips down and open up your chest and lift your head into an upward dog, and then moving into downward dog by lifting your hips back up. Staying in downward dog for a couple of breaths. And as you breathe out, lift your heels, lower your knees, either step forward or hop or jump, whatever feels good today. And go through your variation of sun salutation that we just went over. Repeat 3, 4 times. Meeting in downward dog or child's pose. As you breathe out, lift your left leg up, bring it towards your chest, and step forward between your hands, coming up into warrior one by lifting your arms up while your back foot is at about 45 degrees angle and left knee bent to about 90 degrees. And stay here for a couple of breaths. Open up to your right side by spreading your arms apart, reaching to the right and left, and looking forward towards your left hand, and staying here in warrior two position, keeping your feet in the same position. Lengthening through your spine, reaching forward. Bring left arm up, right arm down into a reverse warrior for a few breaths. Straightening out the left foot, keeping your knees soft, not locked. You can shorten your stance if you need to. Bring left arm down, a right arm up into a triangle pose and stay in here for a couple of breaths. Tightening up tummy, coming back up from triangle pose, uh, facing both feet forward, lengthening and hinging at the hips, bringing torso down into a wide-legged forward fold where you can either stay still or move side to side while hugging your elbows and staying here for a few breaths. Tightening up tummy, coming back up, and cartwheeling your hands towards your right foot, stepping back into a lunge, and going through your variation of sun salutation, meeting in downward dog, and staying here for a few breaths. Or coming down into a child's pose for a break. As you breathe out, lifting right leg up, bringing it towards your chest, and stepping between your arms, coming back up into warrior one by lifting arms up and your left foot about 45 degrees angle and right knee about 90 degrees, and staying here for a couple of breaths. Opening up towards the left side, arms apart, reaching apart, looking towards your right hand, staying in warrior two for a couple of breaths. As you breathe out, bring right arm up, left arm down into a reverse warrior, and staying here for a couple of breaths. Coming back to warrior two, straightening out a right leg, keeping knees soft, and you can shorten your stance, and then lowering the right arm down, lifting left arm up into a triangle pose, staying here for a couple of breaths. Tightening up tummy, coming back up, and facing with both feet forward, lengthening through the spine and hinging at the hips, coming down into a wide legged forward fold where you can reach behind for a deeper bend, and staying here for a couple of breaths. Tightening tummy, coming back up and cartwheeling your hands on other side of your right foot, stepping into a high plank and moving through your variation of um, sun salutation, meeting in downward dog. We're moving to child's pose for a break. As you breathe out, get your feet to your hands by lifting your heels up, bending your knees, and stepping or hopping towards your hands into a forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold, come up, and we're moving into our balance poses. Transfer all your weight onto the left foot, lift your right foot up, place it either on your shin, on the inside of your shin, knee, or thigh, whatever feels good today. Make sure you don't push your right foot into your left leg to avoid injury, and keep your arms at heart or up in a tree pose. Make sure to continue breathing as you stay in tree pose. And whenever you're ready, you can lower the right leg down, shake the legs a little bit, and switch to the other side by transferring all the weight onto the right foot, lifting left foot up and placing it on the inside of your left shin, knee, or thigh, whatever feels good today. Bringing your hands to heart or up into a tree pose and staying here for a few breaths. As you breathe out, lowering the left foot down, shaking the legs, and coming down all the way onto the floor. Bring your feet together as close as you can to towards your body, whatever feels comfortable, into a seated cobbler's pose. You can sit nice and tall, or you can hinging at the hips. Bring your torso towards your feet by walking your hands forward, and stay here in this position for a few breaths. As you breathe out, tightening up your tummy and um, bring your torso up, moving into a on all fours, and bring your left knee forward into a pigeon's pose if that feels comfortable, or staying in child's pose if that's what feels good today. While in pigeon, you can sit nice and tall, or you can bring your torso down onto your elbows and stay there for several breaths. And switching sides whenever you're ready by bringing your coming back into a table stop, and then bring your right knee forward. Again, you can sit nice and tall or lower your torso onto your elbows. You can also just remain in child's pose if that's what feels good today. And after several breaths, as you breathe out, coming back down onto your spine and coming into a pose called Happy Baby by grabbing your feet from the inside with your hands. You can stay still or you can move side to side as well as straighten out legs together or one at a time and stay in here for several breaths. And as you breathe out, bring both legs down one at a time into a final pose, corpse pose, or shavasana for a bit of meditation. Make a note of all the movement you just did and pat yourself on the back. And now you can focus on the fluidity of breath on your tummy and chest rising up as you breathe in, and tummy and chest coming back down as you breathe out. Stay in this pose for as long as needed. Thank you very much for your time today. Namaste.